South Korea's central bank has raised its benchmark interest rate once again, but this time by a smaller amount at 25 basis points. It's trying to get inflation under control, but at the same time, there are signs inflation may have peaked. Plus, it looks like the U.S. Federal Reserve might not be raising rates as fast either. But in terms of economic growth, BOK is the latest to project the local economy to grow by less than 2% next year. Choi Min-jung reports.
The Bank of Korea has raised its key interest rate for a record sixth consecutive time, this time by 25 basis points. With the latest hike, the country's benchmark interest rate now stands at 3.25%. The BOK says the decision to increase by a smaller margin compared to October's 50 basis point hike is due to an expectation that the U.S. Federal Reserve will raise rates at a slower pace, as well as exchange rates becoming more stable. However, the hike still comes amid an effort by authorities to tame soaring inflation.
We decided it was necessary to continue with a tightening policy as inflation is expected to remain around 5% for the time being. Rates are expected to continue increasing in the future as well, as inflation will continue to exceed the target level for a considerable period of time.
In October, prices rose by 5.7% compared to a year ago, much higher than the central bank's 2% target. Though the central bank expects the inflation rate to remain in the 5% range until early next year, it forecasts consumer prices to drop as the economy slows. That being said, the inflation outlook for next year has edged down from 3.7% to 3.6%. However, the BOK says this is bound to change considering underlying economic uncertainties at home and abroad. The central bank also said GDP growth for this year will be generally consistent with August's forecast of 2.6%. But the forecast for 2023 sees a drop to 1.7% from a previous projection of 2.1%. Pundits say the BOK's projection for next year's GDP growth is not too concerning as of now, as it's still above 1%, a level regarded as economic recession. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.